The following report is an analysis of the Central Park case study. It identifies strengths and weaknesses in the development application process and provides recommendations from the perspective of New South Wales Department of Planning. Central Park is a mixed-use urban renewal project at the old Carlton United Brewery site. It comprises of retail, commercial and residential development. The developers, Fraser's Property Group, have said it will become a city landmark by bringing greenery and light to the skyline, with the walls to feature vibrant vertical gardens of climbing plants as well as a heliostat system, which is a set of mirrored panels that reflect light onto landscaped urban spaces and sunken piazza areas. The design and approvals process was lengthy. The initial design was knocked back several times by council, and after the first purchaser pulled out of the deal, there were concerns raised around both design and approvals processes. The approval process began in August 2003, and after the changing of hands of both developers and approving authorities, the final approvals weren't given until February 2009, almost 6 years later. This project is unique and became contentious as it was initially being handled by the City of Sydney and was called in from them by the Minister for Planning as a state significant site under Part 3A of the EP&A Act. Part 75B of the Act states that a development is state significant if it is A, major infrastructure or other development that, in the opinion of the Minister, is of state or regional environmental planning significance, or B, major infrastructure or other development that is an activity for which the proponent is also the determining authority, and that, in the opinion of the proponent, would require an environmental impact statement to be obtained under that part. Concerns raised through the process were similar from Carlton United Breweries, Australand, the developers, and Department of Planning. Issues noted were delays in council approvals and multiple knockbacks, confusion on timeline projection and generic planning controls for a unique development opportunity. The Minister ratified his decision through his concern of design controls, which he described as prescriptive and would have produced a wall of buildings box-like. He did not want a repeat of the Department of Main Road site that were built by Meriton. The most prominent issue was the approvals process by council being long-winded and also lacking process. It was noted by the owners, the developers, and ultimately the New South Wales Department of Planning, who took control after the project was noted as being tied up in 3 years of red tape by the Minister for Planning. The lack of forward thinking is also partly to blame for this, as Council had endorsed guidelines for a design contest. Once a decision was made on the winner, the Council then advised that a DA should not be lodged until the site has been rezoned. This site also contained heritage items of local significance, which led to negotiations between the City of Sydney, New South Wales Heritage Officer and the developer, which took almost 12 months to come to a decision. Department of Planning taking control was necessary, and the following actions address the issues posed by the City of Sydney. By taking control of the site, this streamlined the process. Part 3A of the Act set up a process for approval which had to be followed once approved. This meant the developers knew what was coming, rather than the constant changing of goalposts and subsequent delays. The Minister could also approve the proposal without the need for rezoning, further speeding the process. Another issue noted by the Department of Planning was the prescriptive design controls. This gave little control to the approving authority on design, and as mentioned by the Minister for Planning, he was wary of the DMR site and the poor design and finish of the Meriton box-like developments. Upon taking control of the site, the Minister appointed an expert advisory panel to make recommendations on urban design. The recommendations in this report included design excellence, amenity, and built form. These recommendations, partnered with voluntary planning agreements, gave leverage ensuring attractive design. With all considerations compiled into one report from the expert panel, it cut out consulting and negotiating with several external bodies. This panel of 4 streamlined planning, allowing ample opportunity for public consultation, and delivered more certainty for local residents and investors. The recommendations moving forward would be to retain a delegation on project sizes for Council and automatically transfer the project to State Department of Planning without leaving the Minister to determine whether the project is state significant. State has a proven track record on delivering large projects and are better equipped to oversee these projects that affect New South Wales as a whole. This removes the confusion of projects potentially changing hands. The second recommendation is having clear guidelines for large projects. Making use of voluntary planning agreements and giving the developer the autonomy to reach these goals, ensures turnaround times shorten. If guidelines are met, projects will not be reassessed and appealed several times. This reduces the load on the Department of Planning and encourages developers to be more innovative in their designs. By cutting the red tape and streamlining the process, this not only improves the growth of the city, but also makes projects more attractive to developers, as it is clear what is expected of them. This extra load on the Department of Planning is negated, as greater autonomy is given to the developer, who, through use of voluntary planning agreements, will be responsible for delivering on state expectations, reducing the potential for reassessment and appeals. This in turn frees up council to concentrate on more local specific issues.